Broncos country, welcome back to another video here on the Park and Love Sports YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me today. Make sure if you do enjoy this video that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel, as the support is greatly appreciated and I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible. So if you could help me reach my goal, that would mean the absolute world to me. Now in today's video, we're just going to do a simple mock draft 1.0. There's going to be no trades involved, right? Yeah, no trades involved in this one and the reason I'm doing that is because I did one with trades, but I scrapped that one. This one has no trades, and it's a selfish mock draft, meaning that we're going to grab players that I want to grab, that maybe it's not the most popular pick amongst Broncos fans, but it's someone who I would love the Broncos to draft. So that's kind of what this video is. Now, thank you all so much for watching. Before we get into it, as always, I just want to remind you that no matter who you are, Jesus loves you and that he is the king. And with that being said, let's go ahead and let's jump straight in to my mock draft 1.0. So, the first thing that I have going on here is we're going to be looking at the current picks that the Broncos have for the 2025 NFL Draft, which is being held in Green Bay at Lambeau Field this year. So we have our own first round pick, our own second round pick, our own third round pick, and our own fourth round pick. Missing out on our fifth and seventh round pick, but we do have our sixth round pick, which is our own. And that second sixth round pick is actually from the Eagles. So let me go ahead and let me swap that out real quick. Alrighty, so I fixed that. Yeah, I just a typo happens. But we do have the sixth round pick from the Eagles. And we acquired this when we traded Albert Okwuegbunam and a seventh round pick, I believe was last year, after the preseason, to the Philadelphia Eagles. So we got this sixth round pick back. Now starting things off, with the fifth overall pick, I have the Broncos selecting Teteroa McMillan, wide receiver out of Arizona. I think he is my number one receiver in this class. I was unsure for a bit, but McMillan is my number one receiver in this class. You know, you could go a couple different ways. You could go Travis Hunter if you want. You could go Luther Burden. But in my opinion, Teteroa McMillan is the number one receiver in this class as of right now. Now, McMillan is a big-bodied receiver at 6'5", 210 pounds, but, you know, he does have some speed on him. He's not the fastest guy. He's not going to outrun you, but he does have some wheels on him. He's going to be, you know, I think he's going to run in the 4.4 range for a receiver at the combine, so he does have some speed to him, but he is a big-bodied receiver who's also a very dynamic route runner. He attacks the ball in the air, and he easily comes down with contested catches, and he has reliable hands. He's not going to drop many passes, which is something I think the Broncos, we need. You know, a lot of you know, if you watch this channel for a couple years now, Jerry Jeudy was one of my favorite players. I mean, he still is one of my favorite players, but he would drop the ball a decent amount. Courtland Sutton, you know, he had some drops this past weekend. Lil Jordan Humphrey did. So McMillan has sure hands, and he's going to catch a lot of balls that come his way. Of course, every receiver does have drops, but he has reliable hands when you target him with the football. And quite honestly, there's a couple different directions you could go here. You could go offensive tackle, and if you went Will Campbell or Kevin Banks, I would have been okay with that too, because we need to protect Bo Nix. We need to build around Bo Nix, whether that's getting him a dynamic weapon or getting him some more offensive line help. I'm going with Teteroa McMillan here in the first round for the Broncos. During his career with the Arizona Wildcats, he's played in 27 games and has had 141 receptions for 2,419 yards, averaging 17.2 yards per reception and 22 touchdowns. And as I want to share at the start of every video, I keep forgetting, but don't judge a player based on their stats, because stats can be lying. The stats can be deceiving. You know, it's easy to put up as a graphic, but do the research of who these players are and like do some study of these players. Now, I still need to do some more study on these players, but as of right now, McMillan is my wide receiver one for this class. Moving on to our second round pick, I'm going with Ollie Gordon, running back out of Oklahoma State. Now, if you guys have watched this channel, you know that I am an alumni from Oklahoma State. It is my alma mater. I went to college there. So I have some bias here towards Ollie Gordon. You know, he's our best player right now. And quite frankly, I don't want him to go to anyone in the division like the Chiefs, the Chargers, or the Raiders. You know, that would be the worst case scenario for me. But I'm a big Ollie Gordon fan, and I would love if he went from my college team to my pro team. You know, I'm born and raised in Colorado, but I went to Oklahoma State. That's why I'm an Oklahoma State fan, is because, yeah, I went there, but I am born and raised in Colorado. And Ollie Gordon, he's kind of special. He's special. He's got a rare combination of size and speed. He's 6'1", 220, but he also moves very, very quickly, running a 4.4-ish range if I had to estimate. He's not afraid of contact, and he will run through you, and he will break tackles, but he can also be used as a receiving back. He is very, very talented. He's not like one particular back. Most backs, you know, you can fit him into one category. Take, for example, Audric Estime on the Broncos. He's more of a thumper. He's going to run into you, run through you, not going to be the most agile guy. Ollie Gordon can run through you, and he can also be very, very agile. And another thing about Ollie Gordon that is great is he has elite ball security. He is not going to fumble the ball very often. I think on like 200-plus carries, he's only fumbled twice, which is insane. So, yeah, Ollie Gordon, going from my alma mater to my favorite pro team. In 29 games with the Cowboys, he has 392 rushing attempts, he has 392 rushing attempts. He's run for 2,215 yards, averaging 5.7 yards per carry, scoring 27 touchdowns. And in the receiving end, he has 56 receptions for 446 yards and 3 touchdowns. Going to our third pick, I'm getting Josh Conerly Jr., offensive tackle out of Oregon. He's a 6'4", 315-pound offensive lineman. He's 20 years old, and this is his junior season at Oregon. And actually, last season, he was Bo Nix's left tackle. As you can kind of see in the background of the picture, that is Bo Nix right there. And honestly, if I had to look at it, Garrett Bowles, right now, he's dealing with something for the Broncos. And if I had to guess, maybe the Broncos sign Garrett Bowles back on a one-year deal, or maybe he walks in free agency. So getting someone like Josh Conerly, who played left tackle in college, so doesn't have to transition over, he could be a plug-and-play type of guy if he falls to the third round, or you could develop him and sign another guy. Maybe you start Alex Palkowski. Maybe you start I mean, I wouldn't feel comfortable starting Palkowski, Pert, or even Frank Crum right now. But yeah, I like Josh Conerly, and I think you could plug him in and have him start right away. Or you could sign another veteran offensive tackle to a one-year deal and then have Conerly learn for a year and then start him in the following season. With our fourth round pick, I am going with Bear Alexander, defensive lineman out of USC. Now, our defensive line has improved, but in the Seattle game, we did struggle a little bit with the run defense. And Bear Alexander not only provides help as a run defender, but he also provides help as a pass rusher. Sorry, I'm about to sneeze if you see my eyes watering up here. But he provides versatility at the D-line position. So the Broncos, we run a 3-4. I think he could play as your nose tackle, or he could play as your defensive ends, rushing the passer, but also being a run stopper. So he's got high versatility, and he's a solid defender in pass rush and run defense. Now, he's not elite or great at any of them, but he's solid, and he's a guy who you can develop. You got DJ Jones, you got Zach Allen, you got some guys there. And so Bear Alexander wouldn't need to jump in and start right away, but he could learn behind DJ Jones and Zach Allen, and then maybe he could be your starting nose tackle between the two of them while he develops, or you know what? He's just a solid defensive lineman, and that's something that the Broncos, we truly, truly need. It was either between Alexander or an edge rusher here, and you could go edge rusher, but in my opinion, if you're not grabbing one of the elite guys at the top of this class, I don't think we're going to take one, because we have solid guys. We have 4 solid guys in Browning, Cooper, Benito, and Ellis at that position. So we don't need another depth guy with high upside. We would need an instant impact guy like a James Pierce or a Nick Scorton. But for right now, I'm getting Bear Alexander here in the 4th round. Moving on to the 6th round. Let's just look at Bear Alexander here. He's played in 27 games between the USC Trojans and the Georgia Bulldogs. He has 33 solo tackles, 25 assist tackles, 58 total tackles, 9.5 tackles for loss, and 3.5 sacks. Moving on to our first of 2 6th-round picks, we're going with another one of my guys from my alma mater, Oklahoma State, and Nick Martin, linebacker. And I'm surprised Nick Martin made it to the 6th round. I don't think he's actually going to make it to the 6th round for this upcoming draft. I think he's going to be a 2nd, 3rd round guy. But Nick Martin has the upside to play the Mike linebacker as that middle linebacker in that middle linebacking role. He's got great pursuit, excelling at stopping the run. He's a great blitzer to get to the quarterback to rush the passer, and he holds his own in pass coverage. So he's a dynamic linebacker for us. Wraps up a ton of tackles, which is kind of the MO for the Broncos right now with Singleton and Barton. So I feel like he fills in with that, but he's got more upside and more tools and more ability. So I do think he could be our linebacker one of the future, grabbing him here in the 6th round. And maybe that's just my bias talking because I am an Oklahoma State fan. But Nick Martin is super, super talented that I realistically don't see him falling to the 6th. I think he's going to be a 2nd, 3rd round guy, like I mentioned, maybe a 4th round guy. But Nick Martin is extremely talented. Got him here in the 6th round, but we'll have to see how the season and the draft process plays out to know where he'll land for sure. And finally, I keep forgetting about the stats, but 32 games with the Cowboys. He has 109 solo tackles, 73 assist tackles, 182 total tackles. He has 21.5 tackles for loss, 7 sacks, and 2 interceptions in his career at Oklahoma State. Now, moving on to I've kind of realized this is high a little bit, so sorry if it looked weird. I'm going to adjust that right now. But for the final pick that we have at 191, I have us selecting Makari Page, safety out of Michigan. It was between 3 positions here. It was between safety, it was between tight end, and it was between edge rusher. I decided to go the safety route because when you look at our current safeties, you got PJ Locke and Brandon Jones, who are all right. I like them. But then you got Jale Skinner, who's one of my guys, Delaren Turner-Yell. I just don't know. So I'm grabbing some depth at the safety position in Makari Page, who has a lot of upside, a high football IQ, a solid frame at 6'4", 208 pounds, and the versatility to not only play as a safety, but to play as a nickel cornerback in the slot. But obviously, I think it's Jaquan McMillan, Chris Abrams-Drain. Those are going to be the slot guys, but he does have the versatility to play in the box, up high. He's got a lot of versatility as a player, and so I just drafted a high upside guy in Makari Page. During his career at Michigan, he's played in 43 games with 101 tackles, 5 passes defended, and 1 interception. But that is going to be my very first mock draft of the year. Let me know what your thoughts are. This is, like I said again, this is my selfish mock draft. So this is what I want to happen. Just taking players who I would like the Broncos to draft. If you guys want either next week or in a couple weeks down the road, probably a couple weeks down the road, maybe after week 3, I'll do the first 1.0 mock draft because we kind of have an order for the draft setting in. And, we kind of got we'll be week 4 of the college season, so we'll know who's rising, who's fallen, all these different players. So, yeah, thank you so much for watching. My name is Parker. I hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace out.